What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? Good morning. Good morning. Guys, for those of you tuning in on YouTube, remember that day trading is risky. Do not trade with money that you cannot afford to lose. Remember to take it slow. Utilize simulators. Utilize small size if you're new. Do not use massive accounts right away and or big size right away until you gain some experience and you're able to manage your risk. All right. Other than that, remember, copy trading does not work. My results are not typical. And I do not invest for subscribers, so be careful of fake accounts. All right. Be careful of fake accounts. I did post a watch list there. And I think the main stock here so far is going to be KITT. As mentioned on Friday, this week I'm looking to be way more selective. Anything that's just a little too slow and not quick for the scalps, not giving the faster follow through, I'm looking to ease off on a little bit. And if anything, what we can do is throw just a really small size, like literally 10 shares into those dips on those particular type of stocks. And one of those stocks might be like BKYI, right? Where we might get like a slower grind, like a really small size on stocks like that, just to see in those dips how well we could do and, let that run over time, over a few weeks. And if it turns out to be really good, and we're always seeing some good follow through, then we can put size there. But for now, we're gonna stick to those volatile stocks where we have a good chance of doing well with the quick scalps. So KITT seems to be that right now. So far, we've had a high of 38 and a low of 26, 438 to 326, 322 really, a couple cents lower there. But into the open, I'm hoping we can hold up here and retake the VWAP for a retest of the highs. If we can get over the pre-market high, let's check the daily chart. This one is curling up off the lows. And perhaps we can see, let's see here. We had just shy of 450. 448 on the daily chart. We did have a topping wick, and so we're within 10 cents of that level. If it does break over, then of course $5.50, and $6 can become possible. So will we be able to hold up and make a new high? Share size is going to be set here for smaller size to start. So, less is more is the saying. Less is more. Looking to stick to exactly what I like, what works. If we're not seeing it, sidelines, no trades. Anything like BKYI that might be a slow grinder, can throw out some baby shares just to see if dips are holding and gain a good feel and rhythm for those over time. But other than that, looking to keep it simple. We got 8 minutes to the opening bell. 8 minutes. So for those of you on YouTube, you guys can get a good look at the scanners here. We got the day trade dash scans up. KITT has been hitting. I can post the watch list here again, just for the people that might be tuning in here. But I think KITT is looking really good. BKYI, some people may love and may prefer, let's say. Seems like it's going to be more of a grinder, slower moving. There's also CODX, cheaper stock below $1, which looks okay as well for the people who love the penny stocks. KITT right now, we are seeing new lows and we're seeing a lower highs here the last 5 minutes. Will we be able to hold up the 5-minute pullback here. There's the alarm for screen recording. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up as you're tuning in, by the way. Hit the thumbs up. Forgot to drink my lemon water this morning. Although I don't even think it's helping me with this cold, really. I mean, I think it is, but it's like pretty short-term relief. You know, maybe I need to start drinking it twice a day or 3 times, morning, afternoon, and night. I got this 365 days a year cold that never goes away. Never. Absolute fortune. We appreciate the detailed watch list, man. Always right on point. Bacardi, vitamin D. I've been trying everything, man. At this rate, I need a new intake system. New nostrils, new everything. Need to shed my skin and come anew. Anyhow, so with 4 minutes to go, let's lock in here. This thing continues to make new lows. We're now at 288, so I'm thinking, we'll see. Volume is also decreasing here, which is typically not a bad sign for the pullbacks, but we are below VWAP here. So we'd love to see volume increase with a green candle and a red to green. For those of you who are in the chat room on the trial, we're going to end it today at 12 p.m. So what that means is if you're a white name in the chat room, we are going to close it off again. You guys can always feel free to upgrade and become a full member. But for the people who, there were a few people who did say that they would love to experience the chat room, but they didn't have the finances. So we opened it up just to give people a chance to at least check it out. Okay, we're going to take off the scanners here on YouTube. We've had a good look. And now we're at full screen. Full screen. How are the others doing here as we're coming into the open? CODX. It's looking okay. We've been seeing a few penny stocks go from about 70, 80 cents up to $1, 115, 120. So CODX definitely could be interesting if it's if it's strong here. We got 1:47 to the open. If you're now tuning in, remember the disclaimer, day trading is risky. All right, the screen recording is looking good. And we got 52 seconds. KITT, we're seeing a small curl off the lows off of 80. Let's trade to the best of our abilities. $340s the VWAP. Well, we got the 5-minute candle to make the new high here into the open. CODX might be stronger earlier. I'll keep an eye on that one here as well. Wait. Hold up. KITT, not looking too good. Selling off down to 280. Titanic for KITT. CODX is moving up a little bit. Okay, there's a high of 72. The pre-market highs are at 69. Bro, come, what? Oh man, wow, that's crazy. Okay, CLDX 75 for highs. I think her swim is having some issues. Good old E-Trade it is. The good news is that this one is volatile. It's moving up. There's an uptrend. Are we going to see a tight 1 minute pullback here? It is really strong. Jesus Christ. Bro, oh my gosh, man. Bro, it's like I can't trade this thing in any of my accounts, pretty much. The one strong stock. Oh my gosh. Well, I'm on the sidelines here. I'm on the sidelines. And I do have to take a bathroom break too, so maybe I take a bathroom break in the meantime until something else comes up. And nothing else really hitting the scans as of yet. All right, hold up. I'll be back in a sec. CODX is the only one holding up. It's on a 5-minute setup here. The pre-market highs at 69.43, and we got lows slightly below that level. It's like I'm having some like technical issues. Man, like this. Maybe I need to restart my platforms or something. CODX moving up again. The 5-minute setup holding up for a higher low. 67 versus 68. And a retest of the highs. It could keep going. It's almost like today is like a forced, like I came in with the plan of like being more selective. It's like a forced sideline kind of day. It definitely has range though, right? 77 back down to 70 right there again. Can get caught in those bigger drops. Is there anything else besides this one? I don't think so. CLDX is fighting, which I like. KITT is curling up as well. Low of that candlestick was 21 for KITT. I'm gonna throw out the starter, smaller size. We're at the VWAP. You know, if it's able to hold up, we can definitely see a nice red to green here. It just feels so. Can the previous resistance turn into support? And it will not. Okay. Good for the small size there. I gotta check to see if I show my P&L on E-Trade what it looks like in terms of like account information. Bro, holy smokes, the ODX. And KITT in the depths. CLDX broke over 78. Oh, yeah, yeah. So I'm not able to trade in any of my accounts on this one for some reason. I'm getting like error codes on CLDX, which is the only strong stock. So I'm literally forced to be on sidelines today. Thinker swim in the depths, E-Trade in the depths. And Guardian is also in the depths too because in that one the ECN fees are just insane for sub $1. You got to be right on every single trade without fail. CODX. Ay, 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 my back finally feeling a little bit better, but Pastor needs to keep stretching. Why AI? Doesn't look like the volume is too high on that one though. CLDX still remains to be the strong stock. And yeah, this one doesn't look that good. This is really the only false breakout candle we've had. E-Trade, I'm not gonna like I'm thinking like it's requiring limit orders there, but you know I'd need some really good hotkeys, which E-Trade is not good for. Yeah, that's what I'll probably do. For those of you who are white names in the chat room, that are here on the free trial, just a heads up that today's the last day. You guys can always feel free to upgrade if you can. There were a few people who did ask to be a part of the chat room who didn't have the finances, so we opened up the chat just for a week or two, just to give people a chance to see how it is. But we're closing it off today officially. We did say this on Thursday, but then a few people asked for like an extension, so we're like, you know what, we'll just leave it till Monday of this week and announce it when everyone is here. If you're now tuning into the stream, I'm not trading this thing because it's not working on any of my accounts for some reason, so I'm stuck on the sidelines here. And honestly, I don't love to trade penny stocks, if I'll be super honest. I mean, sometimes they're really good, but I like when they're breaking over one. That's kind of like my sweet spot. KITT seems to be the only other stock that's in range to do something. KITT. It'll be good if it's able to get back to 340s and hold those levels. So we've had highs at 438. We've pulled back 262 lows. We got up there to 340s. Right now we're back at $3 again. So as I'm looking at this stock right now, I'm asking myself, what is a good entry? The only pattern that I'm potentially seeing here is like an ABCD. So if I come over to my drawing tool here, we've had our move down, we've got our midpoint here, and now we can curl back up potentially off of a higher low. And so if we can continue to hold up mid 80s, I think there's something there. But of course, I would want my stop to be tight. I think 60 is a little too low for mid 80s. So, high 70s, mid 70s. We'll see if it comes back down. I'll give it a chance. I don't love the trade though because we are below the VWAP, right? If we're above the VWAP, typically, it's a much better success rate to give this thing a chance to curl up. But below the VWAP, I'm thinking I don't mind risking $100. Well, maybe that might even be a little too much. Maybe $60. Risk really small. Just keep it tight, being that we're below the VWAP. If it gets above the VWAP and gives another setup, then I'll increase my size there, where the odds will be a little bit better if we can hold. So I don't mind taking a couple hundred shares here. Son of a gun. Okay, I should have took 88. I didn't. Watching. Again, mid 70s is where I'd look to, keep it tight. I should have took 88 right there and just, already been in, but was watching for even lower. All good in the neighborhood. Being patient, waiting. Even a trade like this, even if you're not to take it, it's not that bad. Again, below the VWAP, it's always a little bit more risky. It's like it goes from an A plus to like a B minus, C plus, and the odds of the trade working out is already lower, anyways. DVLT was mentioned. CLDX. We'll see what that one does. Oh man. Mm. It's rejecting, pushing, pulling back here again. Is it gonna flush out? Should have took that trade though, right? From 88 to 18. You can't complain. 30 cents. Will we see it again? It's hard to say. But rejecting the VWAP, I think, is fine because, again, we're below the level. Sometimes the VWAP rejection will happen. And being that we haven't gotten over the level there, we're probably not going to break and hold above 40 anytime soon. Do I want to take the same trade idea? It might be having a higher low, is what it's looking like. I'm gonna take it at 93. Let's see if it continues to hold the level here for the higher low versus high mid 80s. If not, watching, keep it tight. And of course, I got filled 2-3 cents higher, right? Normal stuff. Normal day in the office. Normal day. Good old E-Trade Pro is what I'm using right now. E-Trade. And those last couple of candlesticks were not promising, but you know, we'll see. Ross finished up 20K. That's the headline right there on Day Trade Dash. 20K. Why is the VWAP so low on E-Trade? Interesting. Thinkorswim is showing me 317. What do you guys have for VWAP, by the way? Just to check in. There's a big seller now at 94. 317, 304 on Weeble. Yeah, the trade idea is not going to work for the higher low at 93 entry area. Out at 90. Well, again, the first time at 88 to 18 is the damn trade, of course. What I was doing was waiting for a little bit more of a drop, and then it just ripped up to 92, 93, missed the trade. Gotta take it, even if it's a couple cents higher. 30 cents gone to the wind. The lows were 62, I believe, earlier. Some people will be watching still for a lower dip. But we've had 3 or 4 red candles in a row on the 5. $304 or 317, it seems. E-Trade has, yeah, 304. So Thinkorswim saying 317. That is a problem though, right? Because, half the people are buying. I don't know. That's kind of crazy. Half of us are buying in a random area thinking it's VWAP if we're looking at that area, I'd like to think it's 317 because if we look at the Thinkorswim chart, it seems like we've hit the level more times. Or maybe because more people are just using Thinkorswim. Like if we look at the chart, we've hit it a couple times to the penny almost. You know, right here, and right here. Versus E-Trade and Webull. Earlier, it had the first two, but then on this middle one here, it kind of like dropped off. CODX. Back to 85. Hold on, let me check something here real quick. Like, I'll be back. Showing too much. E-Trade says I'm red 80 bucks, but if I show my P&L, it's like it's showing my account balance and all this stuff. It's like showing too much. Okay, CLDX. If I am to be trading it, you know, what is a good entry? I don't think I'd want to be too scalpy because the moves are taking some time to go. Right now, we're on a bit of a flat top breakout, a high of day breakout. Honestly, if it can hold over 87, you know, similar to a couple days ago, I think the best thing for me would be to be in with a tighter stop if it does prove it's holding and just see what it does. Of course, it can be a false breakout, and that's the risk of buying high. And we could be back down 85, and I could be losing 3 cents in a trade. But if it does get into the new range, in terms of dips, it's hard to say because you know I don't have any high EMAs up here in terms of where it's very likely to hold. You know, looking back at previous candlesticks, we got 82. Maybe a starter there could work. But we've already proven we can flush out below that level before, so is it going to hold 82 area here, or are we going to flush out this time? Sometimes a starter entry is not bad just to see. That way, if it does go down, it's not like a big loss, and it does flush down there to 80. You know, that way, a starter entry, at least the stop is like, the loss is like very small. Massive size 82, too much conviction, and you're seeing 79 right there. It's, you know, kind of tough. The 5-minute candlestick also has a topping wick. The stock still seems bullish. I think maybe, you know, the next minute will be good. Will we close as a green doji maybe? Five years ago, I refused to trade, right? And so I stood on the sidelines for 3 months to gain a different perspective, as if I'm a coach on the sidelines. It worked, by the way. Just, you know, just a heads up for anybody that's like trying something new. Although it was painful on some days when, you know, you had a nice move in the area that you had the intuition. So the dip is holding 80 for now, 79.80. We had 82 and the lows were 79. Last candle had a low of 80. it's worth a try here in the consolidation for me. I'd say if I'm to be trading it, but you know, starter size, maybe like a slightly wider stop, and not just be too scalpy. I think being too scalpy is like too risky on this one. This is the approach from Friday, right? Friday we said, hey, we're done trying to force it, you know? Like we're done. Like forcing it is not gonna happen anymore. Having that optimism of just thinking we'll just be green no matter what. It's time to slay that demon forever. Gotta have that slightly wider stop sometimes and give the stock a chance. Like right there, I think cutting it 79, 78, the way to go. Which is why the pullback there is risky because it's like, where are we going to go? You know, it's just hard to say with this move that we've had. Versus if we break over 87 and hold, it's more likely that we see follow through to 90, 93, 95, even though it's higher and the risk of a false breakout is present. Even because sometimes, you know, we'll look like we're holding and then it fails. In which case, the risk is still there, but if we're really seeing that high volume 87, 88, there's a chance we push to 94, 95 over time. So, you know, reviewing over the weekend and thinking about certain probabilities, and it's like, man, like sometimes you got to really come back to the basics of the candlesticks and forget the level two. Not completely, I'd say, but, you know, the tape, man, the tape is just too noisy these days. You know, just way too noisy compared to prior market conditions. The ladder is better than level two. Honestly, if I'll be very honest, I have no idea how to use the ladder. I never did, and I never took the time to learn it. But to me, this looks like you know when like someone is coding, like doing software engineering, and you look at the screen. Obviously, if I take time, I know I could learn it, but like I just never thought that there was a need because of the level two. You know, guys like Ross are using level two. I watched a lot of Ross in the beginning, and so it's like I kind of just stuck with level two. We're getting a bottoming wick on CODX. KITT selling off completely. I'm trying to remember how many swings I'm holding. Like, I'm getting like a brain fog. Yeah, CODX, you know, 74, 75, and it's bouncing for now. But when we look at the 5-minute chart, right, or the bigger time frames, does the stock have what it takes to make a new high again? It honestly seems a little 50-50 because whilst we're in an uptrend and we're getting bottoming wicks, we're also seeing a lot of topping wicks too. In fact, we've had a triple top at 88. And so maybe short sellers are here and they're aggressive and this thing sells off. Again, on the other hand, we've been seeing bottoming wicks, higher lows. So just hard to say what we'll do. You know, if I'm to take 76 with this new approach of having a slightly wider stop, not and you know it's relative, right? That you know maybe like a penny and a half versus like half a penny, you know, last week, right? If I'm in 76 and I say, hey, stop at 70, or I'm in yeah 76, and my stop is you know slightly below 75, 1 penny risk. Do I expect this to go to 88 here? Probably not. I don't know. Probably not. Again, 50-50, right? Maybe 80 something, and it breaks down 75 right there. I'm out for tight stop. So from 76 to 79, 3 cents unrealized. If I sell half, you know, I made something, and then the other, maybe I'm getting some slippage or a break even trade there. Hopefully break even. But there's a new low in the range. Well, hopefully all the studying too pays off with this type of, you know, perspective. It's not that different, but it is. Just zooming out a little bit, being more patient. Roll the dice. Roll the dice. 50% chance, and it goes down. The other one that we were looking at, which was KITT. KITT, not really holding up. I typically trade like 50 trades a day. Last year I did more around like 150 trades a day. My volume is way lower. Like I think I did like 800,000 shares of volume last year. This year it's like 100K. Oh my goodness. It's a flat day. Yeah, some people love the ladder. Some people love the ladder. Some people don't use it. Nah, with Marcelo's channel, the only reason he's not like on YouTube is because his channel got banned on YouTube, like randomly. Or else the Mighty would still be doing a recap every day. He does the live trading in the chat room though, every day. For people who are like not in the chat room, you're not gonna see these guys. But if you're in the chat room, it's like they never left because they're still sharing their P&L every day. Like, you know, they'll still post a monthly calendar. Even if they're not posting their P&L every day, like sometimes maybe you forget to miss a day or two, but they'll post like a calendar at the end of the month, stuff like that. So for those people in the chat room, we see these guys every day. In fact, I just saw Crispy yesterday, right? Like, uh, you have to be inside of the community to like know what's going on. If not, you're not gonna be in the loop. All the guys met up last week. You know, like 15 guys, right? Granted, I didn't go to this one, but it was only like 2 days, so it's like you know it's a little different compared to like the longer ones. But if you're not in the chat room, you're never gonna like know about those things. The entire squad still posting in the chat room every day. Tim is doing pretty good, man. If you guys want, I'll show you guys a video of Tim zip lining off of a boat 2 days ago. and falling in as the zip line breaks. Ah, that was a funny video to see, man, I tell you. Yeah, Tim is doing all right. By the way, I have a success story I'm gonna post this week. You guys can stay tuned. I have a success story. Let's see. Let me check the YouTube side. Hold up. Uh, Here's the key with small caps, right? This is, I'm studying this weekend, reviewing, looking back at Monday, Tuesday of last week. Those 2 days are days to be up like 10,000, right? For any scalper who knows how to trade consistently, profitably, with confidence. Monday, Tuesday of last week, right? Now, last year we saw days like that, we got spoiled. We saw days like that almost every day. Now, the key is that on those days are the days where we have to capitalize. And all the days like today, if you're someone who's trading the open, especially, you know, CODX is the strong stock today. In a situation like this, where if you're not able to trade it, you got to make sure you don't lose on anything else. Like today is a perfect example of like what a day should look like for me, which is even if I am trading CODX and I don't do well, right? Let's just assume I don't do well, right? Let's say I had a tough time. Is to keep it extremely tight. On the days where you have Monday, Tuesday of last week, again, because CODX is not the typical stock of what I love to trade. The stocks that are going from like 5 to 10 to 15, that right there is like, that's like, a dream every day when you see it. Those are the ones that are like, you want to see all the time. It's different for everybody. Some people, they love maybe $20 plus. Maybe they love sub $1, right? It all depends. But on those days, let's say it comes 3, 5, 6 times a month, those are the days to make your month. And then the other days, you're kind of just going slow, treading water, taking it easy, You, you trade to your full potential on those days. You have no complaints on the week, on the month, on the year, if you're doing that consistently. So reviewing those 2 days, and it's like, man, can't afford to only be up 700 like I was on those 2 days. 700, 600, like, bro, it should be 7,000, 6,000. But flipping that switch to be aggressive and pushing forward in that hot momentum is the key. And then just sideways, slow. Don't force the trades. Take it easy. KTT. Looking back at the comments, yeah, some scalping, not too bad. Also paying attention to the scans in case something else comes. Humble trader. I haven't ever looked at Humble Trader's course. What I could say is though is that when I did speak to her, she seemed pretty genuine. Bro, these people are so funny, man. You guys got to give Ross more credit, man. I saw a comment there. That's just craziness. DZZ halted up, lighter volume. Seems like it could be a little risky here. Very risky business with this lighter volume halt up. Is there a headline on this one? Not seeing a recent headline. So before this thing even resumes, right, we're halted up. I'm doing some analysis here, right? DZZ. Gotta have this new risk management take control in every situation. The good news on this stock is that the daily chart has continuation. We've been curling up over the last few days. Although the stock hasn't really had the amount of volume that we would like. It's given a good move today, going from 470 to 860, but the volume is almost non-existent. Is this going to be a pump and dump? It's like a stock like this, when I ask myself, how do I want to manage risk? Everything is telling me not to touch this. So that's exactly what I'm going to do, not trade it. Now, there are some aggressive traders in our chat room on the YouTube stream and just out there in general who they might take that starter size to give it a chance, you know? I don't think I can see anyone going full size on this because there's just so much risk. What'll happen, even if it resumes significantly higher, there's going to be a big spread. And if you're not careful, you can get caught in the spread. If it proves itself here, gains volume, maybe gives a candle or two or three, and then halts up again, I think maybe the trade can be a little bit more safe when it comes to risk at that point for their dip and rip. Other than that, sidelines for me right here. Good old dip and rip. Staying on the sidelines. What will happen on some of these stocks like this too? You might tell yourself, hey, starter size 300 shares, right? And then you look back, you're down $2 a share, and it's like, bro. So, is the risk worth the reward? Is the reward worth the risk? The answer is no for me personally. Resumption is going to be 29 and 21 seconds in less than a minute. 50 seconds or so. For those of you who are the white name in the chat room, just keep a heads up. Today we are closing out the free trial. It's been fun having you guys here, though. For those of you who do want to upgrade, you can. Here's the resumption. It's lower. The halt down 682. And some people might trade that as the dip at 30 area. But again, the volume is so light. That's like rolling the dice, man. Uh, 9:39 the halt up. Rolling the dice. For the people who did use their starter size, if they're throwing out the shares early, they might have gotten caught. But if they waited there, they might have gotten 9:30 or 8:30 rather. Or was that 7? Maybe it was 7:30. So it's pushing up again, 10:13. It looks like it'll get locked in. Oh man. Am I convinced to trade the halt up now? No, not really. I think there's still a ton of risk relative to the volume. Starting to feel like this desk is too short for me, man. Might need a taller standing desk. 35 or 57. Another 2 minutes or so for the resumption. For DZZ. I'm trying to figure out like, is this like a fund or something? Okay, okay, it's an ETF. Okay. Wow. All right, that makes way more sense. 20 seconds for those of you looking to trade this resumption here, assuming it's a 5-minute halt. DZZ resumption. 10 seconds. 10:13. Lower resumption again. $11.76. That wasn't so bad, although the volume is still pretty light. Just locking in again. Okay, that was I think that was a decent resumption right there. Although lower, volume was lighter, but definitely one for smaller size as well. I can't see, 2, 3, 4K size on a stock like this. I think it's just too risky. Couple hundred shares. I'm gonna be around for a little bit, of course, but I think I might call it for the stream. It's been mostly slow and sideways. We weren't able to trade CLDX, which was the hotter stock today. There's nothing to trade, brother. There's nothing to trade. Friday, I told myself I'm not touching anything. That's not good. CODX, the only good one, and my platforms literally wouldn't let me trade it. So this stuff like this is nonsense. Even if it keeps going to $100, this is not the typical stock that I trade under normal circumstances. So I gotta have that same energy and discipline every day, every time. Not just one time, not just one area, one moment, but all the time. To eliminate all the unnecessary losses. To slay the demons once and for all. We have to upgrade our discipline. So I'm thinking to call it here for the stream. I'll be around a little longer. The thing is with being around longer and being on the stream is that it's difficult for me to listen in on anything like podcast wise or other YouTubers when it comes to like live streaming. Like I like to watch Meet Kevin, for those of you guys who might not know, like just like financial stuff, market stuff, just to kind of hear what some others are thinking. So it's just not easy to do that type of stuff when I'm on the live stream. One of the good things with E-Trade is that they have Bloomberg in here as well, and like listening into Bloomberg and like being on the live stream is just not really possible. Like stuff like this. So doing this and being on the stream at the same time is just a little I think a little too much. And then too, I don't know if like YouTube might or like stuff like this, they might have a copyright and you're not able to live stream it. So, but resumption for DZZ coming up again for those of you looking to go the distance here. On this stock, third halt in a row if you're going the distance on DZZ. $41.42 for resumption. Well, you know, when it comes to watching people on YouTube, you got to take everything with a grain of salt. Even like Bloomberg and like every news thing out there. You know, you got to do your own analysis, your own research. You can kind of just listen in for news in general and see what people are saying, but you got to still do your own research and make your own decisions. If not, because you know, not everyone's motives are always pure. There's only like a few people really. 20 seconds or 10 seconds, 10 seconds here. Looks like it might be a 10-minute halt. But yeah, I'm gonna shut it down for the live stream here. For those of you going the distance, I'll catch you guys later. I am looking at the YouTube chat right now, but the issue is that there's just too many other there's the chat room itself as well, you know. This one was already called out, but not really into it. I'm gonna shut it down. Remain on the sidelines until something really hot moves. If not, staying sidelines. But I'll be here though. For those of you going till 4 as well, stay safe, stay green. I'll catch you guys later. It's a flat day.